This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Rudy Giuliani is but one of several characters surrounding the attempt to overthrow the United States government by way of nullifying the 2020 election, overturning the results of our free and fair, settled American election for president in 2020. Jenna Ellis, Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani. I mean, really, it's a cadre of goofs. John Eastman, many lawyers took part in sidling up to Donald Trump in his attempt to reinsert himself as president, even though he lost in grand fashion by over 7 million votes to Joe Biden. And now it seems that consequences are possibly being delivered or going to be delivered to Rudy Giuliani. You'll remember that Rudy Giuliani used to hold in the American mythos this mythic position after 9/11 and the way that the propaganda built him up to be this courageous, fearless figure who led New York out of a catastrophe, terrorist attack. He ran for president. It's really just been a steady decline and revealing who he really is at his core. And again, now it looks like there's going to be some consequence. I'm going to read from the CNN article. Attorney Disciplinary Committee recommends Rudy Giuliani be disbarred for 2020 election legal work. That's a real milquetoast way of saying the attempt by Rudy Giuliani to nullify a settled American election, an attempt to overthrow the United States government, an attempt to end American democracy. And this is by the D.C. Superior Court, the D.C. Board of Elections for Responsibility, and it's a big deal. It's not final yet, but I'm going to read here and you'll learn a little bit more. An attorney disciplinary committee has recommended Rudy Giuliani be disbarred in Washington, D.C. for his efforts on behalf of then-President Donald Trump to overturn the 2020 election results. The committee, which weighs cases of legal ethics and attorney misconduct in the District of Columbia, issued the report and recommendation on Rudy Giuliani on Friday following a lawyer misconduct hearing for Giuliani in December that functioned like a trial. Quote, "He claimed massive election fraud, but had no evidence of it," the committee wrote. By prosecuting that destructive case, Mr. Giuliani, a sworn officer of the court, forfeited his right to practice law. He should be disbarred. That's from the report of this committee, which is comprised of 3 individuals, 1 private regular citizen and a couple of lawyers. The panel's recommendation is not final. The case against Rudy Giuliani still must be considered by D.C.'s Board of Professional Responsibility and the D.C. Court of Appeals. The committee specifically criticized Giuliani for dishonesty following the 2020 election and what they called calculated attempts to undermine trust in elections, when he falsely claimed in a Pennsylvania federal court there had been election fraud that could overturn Joe Biden's win of the state. You'll remember the tour that Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis and others went on. Sidney Powell was among them. Remember the day that Rudy Giuliani's hair dye was just melting off of his face. It really was a parody of a SNL skit. The Four Seasons lawn and landscape press conference that they did. It was a freak show if there ever was one. But there was real intent, sinister intent behind Rudy Giuliani was doing. And that was to end American democracy, to reinsert Donald Trump as president. Mr. Giuliani has not acknowledged or accepted responsibility for his misconduct. To the contrary, he has declared his indignation over being subjected to the disciplinary process. The committee wrote in its report, "We are convinced that a sanction must be enhanced to ensure that it adequately deters both respondent, Rudy Giuliani, and other attorneys from acting similarly in the future." The 3-person committee, comprised of 2 attorneys and a member of the public, was unanimous in recommending Rudy Giuliani be disbarred. Now, Again, going back to what I was talking about relative to his past, his history, he was a U.S. attorney that took on the mob. He was mayor of New York. Some say a successful mayor. I say kind of jackbooted, kind of draconian in his tactics. But they did consider his past when making this recommendation. We have considered in mitigation Mr. Giuliani's conduct following the September 11th attacks, as well as his prior service in the Justice Department and as mayor of New York City. But all of that happened long ago, the report said on Friday. The misconduct here sadly transcends all his past accomplishments. And that seems self-evident, does it not? That ending democracy in America overshadows the storied path, whether it be myth or not, of Rudy Giuliani. He attempted to end the way we run this country. He wanted Donald Trump, the loser, to proclaim himself the winner and march back into the White House, or stay, as it were, in the White House. Seems like a big deal. Seems like something he should be punished for, not just legally, but also professionally. He should be disbarred and not allowed to practice law anymore after going from court after court after court after court and outright lying before the judge. Remember, over 60 cases were just thrown out of court, many of them with Rudy Giuliani as the head counsel in those cases. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. We can mix it up. Let's talk about it in the comments. We can also, you can call me at 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Follow me on social media. I am everywhere that there's social media. The Threads, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, all of them. I'm at Dollemore. And if you appreciate what I do and you want to help support my work, after you've subscribed, get real close to 500,000 subscribers, and it's only with your help that I'm going to be able to get there. So please subscribe if you haven't already. If you watch my content, just subscribe. If you want to support more, you want to help produce what I do, click the join button below, become a channel member, click the super thanks button below, or go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you for your engagement, for being a member of the audience and supporting American democracy. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.